Hello and welcome to another episode of In the Headlights. Today we're turning back the clock and we're looking at a 1978 Toyota Celica. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to get notified of all our future uploads. I'd also like to give a big shout out to Star9 Workshop for lending us this Celica to take a look at today. So the Toyota Celica started life first in 1970 and was actually built to be Toyota's answer to the new pony cars the Americans were building, like the Mustang. And the first Celica was based on the Toyota Carina sedan. Now that first one sold like hotcakes, and in 1977 Toyota introduced this to the world, the second generation Toyota Celica. So we'll start with the looks, and my god, just look at it. This thing is achingly pretty and this color is just gorgeous. And at the front we can see the chrome fender mounted wing mirrors, which I mean, they're just cool, you know, they're just cool. Moving down a bit further from that, this is the pre-facelift second generation Celica, and you can tell by the round headlights, the facelifted model had square ones. And I don't know, something about the round headlights and the proportions of the whole car, it just looks complete. This front end looks just almost perfect. There's nothing I can think to change on this. And we also have the chrome front bumper to match the wing mirrors. So under the hood of the Celica actually came with like 40,000 different engine, gearbox and trim level options. But this particular car is an 1800 XT. So what that means is that this has the 1.8 litre 4-cylinder carbureted engine combined with the 5-speed manual gearbox, and that was the sportier version compared to the 4 speeds and the autos that were also available. And now this engine, let me tell you, this thing makes a whopping 94 horsepower and 150 Newton meters of torque. But I suppose back in those days, this was actually quite a lot. Now along the side of the car, the first thing we can see are these 15-inch rims that just look super retro, and I love the way it matches the look of the rest of the car. Speaking of the rest of the car, we can just see the continuation of these proportions, and this car just looks magnificent. I cannot emphasize that enough. And as was very popular in those days, we have chrome trim everywhere, around the windows, the doors. We have the chrome trim on the B-pillar with the Celica logo. Now these windows are also frameless windows for the really seamless look. And then back here we can see the roof just tapering down into the back of the car. Now if you're like me and you really love this color and you want it on your own car, you can hit up our friends at Voss Automotive. With a keen understanding of vinyl wraps, paint and custom automotive bodywork, Voss Automotive is your best option to give your car a 360-degree transformation without breaking the bank. So the back of the car, as you can see, is just beautifully simple. They've got big blocky lights. You got the badges that tell everybody else on the road exactly what spec you bought. This chrome bumper and this long single pipe exhaust that just sounds brilliant. So the boot, you open using this key. Just pop it in and there you go. And there's absolutely nothing inside here, and there's not very much space. It is quite wide, doesn't go very far down, it's not very deep. So you could get away with a couple of weekend bags, some groceries, but if you want anything more than that, it's going to be a bit tough. So overall, this Celica has to be one of the prettiest cars I have ever seen. And it just looks so gloriously retro, and it's just such a unique design that you just don't see anymore. Now if your paintwork is as nice as this, you want to keep it protected. And for that, you can use 3K Defense from our friends over at KGC Workshop. 3K Defense has been established since 2016 and is customized for Singapore's weather, providing you with the most suitable coating for our climate to protect and shine your car. So now on to the interior of the Celica, and because this is a 2+2, I'm going to climb in the back seats. So to get into the back seats, you just use this lever, front seat folds forwards, and then clamber in. Right, so here I'm in the back seats. This front seat is where I would sit for my driving position. And as you can see, there's not very much space. My knees I cannot put into the back of the seat. I have to vigorously man spread. So there's not all that much space in here. You could fit smaller people or children back here, I think, without much of an issue, but for full-sized grown people, it will be a bit of a squeeze. But now that I'm kind of had enough back here, I'm baking, let's jump in front. Right, so the front seats of the Celica, and the first thing you notice is it's very brown. Everything except the dashboard and like the gear lever is some shade of brown. You really do feel like you're in somebody's grandmother's house with these cloth seats, brown here, brown there, brown everywhere. And I'm gonna start the interior proper with the door cards because we have wind-up windows. When was the last time you saw wind-up windows? I still think these are the superior solution to winding windows. And over here we have the thin, gigantic steering wheel with the horn, which sounds very nice and old. And then behind that we have the gauge cluster, and on this car every single thing works, which I'm quite surprised by. You got your tech, speedo, oil, battery, temps, fuel, everything works. Even the radio works, the original radio works, as I've heard from the owner. Now, one thing I've noticed on this car is quite interesting. To get the hazard lights on, what you do is you pull up on this little thing here and the hazard lights come on. It took me quite a while to look for that. The aircon works, thank God, because today is like 4 million degrees outside. And of course, below that we have the cigarette lighter and the ashtray, because this was the 70s and absolutely everybody smoked. Now behind that we have the shifter for the 5-speed manual gearbox, and this has a hilariously long throw between gears, but it is pretty nice to use. We have the handbrake, and that's pretty much it in the interior. It feels retro, but it feels cool, and it's just a very nice respite from the kind of commonality you get today in modern cars. So all that's left to do now is see how this thing drives. Right, so driving the Celica, and the first thing, this thing is so easy to drive. Honestly, a child could drive this. The clutch is so light and forgiving, gears are easy to roll, and steering's a bit heavy because there's no power steering, but because this thing is light, it's just under a ton. It doesn't feel heavy, and it's only, as usual, a slight issue when at a complete standstill. And now this thing isn't fast, obviously, by any stretch with just 90 horsepower. But that's not the point. Because the point is that this car feels incredible. There's so much feel through the steering wheel, and the whole experience of driving it is just far more important than this outright pace and performance. Now the steering wheel itself is so comically large, but I mean they all were in those days, and the amount of steering input you need to make a turn is honestly quite hilarious. But it just adds to the character of the whole car, you know? So I've only been driving this car a couple hours, but the number of stares and double takes I've gotten while driving this is way more than in anything else I've ever tried. There was an uncle earlier when we were shooting. He came up to us and then he could tell me about this car, exactly what it was, down to the model year. And you know, that's what cars like this do. They evoke emotion, desire, memories. Man, if cars could talk, you know, imagine the stories this thing would have. Now I could sit here and tell you about the numbers and the figures all day long, but that's not the reason people buy these things. Nobody buys a classic like this for the numbers or, you know, all that. They buy it because of how it makes them feel. I understand the classic car experience now, and that's really the best way to sum it up. It's an experience. Going slowly means you have more time to soak everything in, you know? Soak in the history behind it, and more importantly, the meaning behind it. So if you're able to get a hold of a classic like this, or you have one in your family, you need to take it and hold on to it, because these are a dying breed. They're basically museum pieces, but you need to grab them, maintain them, and show them off, because people need to know. They need to know the heritage. They need to know that these are the ones that came before. This is how cars used to be. And you know what? Man, sometimes I wish this is how cars still were. Now in a classic car like this, maintenance is very important, and you need to protect your engine. And for that you can use SPC lubricants, where protection is everything. So, like many of you, I believe cars have a soul. And in a classic car like this, that personality becomes so much more apparent. And I know I say it a lot, but these cars just have so much more character and personality and soul and life than modern cars do. And cars like these are the moments where they become more than just vehicles. You grow with them, you feel them more and more and more, you become one with the car, and the car becomes a part of you, of your family, and for all of us enthusiasts, they become a part of life itself. Now, no matter what you drive, you're gonna need insurance, and for that you can look for Direct Asia as the only direct insurer with the highest NCD, lifetime repair guarantee, and flexible coverage. Direct Asia protects your car so you can have peace of mind and enjoy the moments that matter, because what drives you matters most. Get a quote now at directasia.com or call 665 5555 today. As always, thank you very much for watching this episode of In the Headlights. Be sure to like, share and subscribe, and once again a big shout out to Star9 Workshop for lending me this car. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.
Motorist.